just going to get this out of the way right off the bat so we know where I'm coming from, because I don't trust CEOs. They lie, they cheat, they steal, and follow whatever direction the wind seems to be blowing. Are there exceptions out there? Sure, but increasingly it feels like more and more are just straight up disingenuous, playing both sides of the proverbial fence at the end of the day, and the CEO of CD Projekt Red is no exception to that. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. The CEO of CD Projekt Red, Michal Nowakowski, took to X to let everyone know that they have never worked with Sweet Baby Inc. and went even a step further to say that he doesn't even know who Sweet Baby Inc. even is. But then you find out that CD Projekt Red hired Mary Kenny, somebody who has gone on X to say that they have worked with Sweet Baby Inc. before and have a very long history of defending them, going out of her way to make them look as good as possible. And it's got to make you wonder, seeing as she was formerly a journalist herself at Kotaku, and why other journalists that used to work at Kotaku are being used as sources by her, what the ties behind the scenes are between all these journalists, and why they continue to defend Sweet Baby Inc. to the extreme. You know, the person who said they'd pull every lever when they were working over at Insomniac, that same person, and then you go a step beyond that, and this is the same guy that's pushing DEI via ESG on their own website, not even hiding it, and he's trying to pretend like he's in there for the gamers. Sorry, buddy, I'm not buying it. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down how the CEO of CD Projekt Red is once again stirring the pot with the gaming community, letting everyone know that he's one of us, guys. Don't worry. They don't really care about DEI stuff. Honest. Michal Nowakowski, the CEO of CD Projekt Red, has recently gone to X to deny any association with Sweet Baby Inc., the consultancy firm best known for kicking off Gamergate 2.0, despite what mainstream media tries to ignore, and how one of their employees, Kindred, attempted to get Kabrutus' Steam account banned for daring to simply create a curation group listing all the games that Sweet Baby Inc. was working on. But hey, that's neither here nor there. I just like to make sure we set the record straight every time we talk about them. Sweet Baby Inc. states that they promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI practices within the game industry. But those have been, time and time again, wholeheartedly rejected by the vast majority of the gaming community. In reality, many gamers, including myself, feel as though they're more of an extortion mafia, forcing their hand of developers to bend the knee and work with them, or face being cancelled by their industry buddies, in my humble opinion, based off of the evidence that I've been researching over the past year or so. We're still allowed to have opinions without getting sued, right? I mean, I sometimes wonder what I'm even allowed to say anymore. It all began when Philip Weber, the narrative director for CD Projekt Red for The Witcher 4 and a former quest designer for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and Cyberpunk 2077, took to X to share some of his insights on the studio's preparations for its next major title. Weber wrote, "2 years ago, we released a new quest for The Witcher 3. New designers and writers worked on it preparing for The Witcher 4, together with one of our most senior quest designers, who was with us since The Witcher 1. All in all, it was the perfect start to getting back the vibe." And I gotta be honest, just off the bat reading that, I'm like, it kind of feels like they're trying to proactively start damage control right now by trying to reassure the entire gaming community that nothing's really changed at CD Projekt Red. It's all the same people. They're all still working on The Witcher. So let's quell those fears that there's any kind of implications that the good talent actually left because there was too much DEI implementation and it was getting too woke, which in reality seems to be what turned out happening. CEO Michal Nowakowski then echoed the sentiment, quote tweeting Philip, stating, "The Witcher 3 turns 10 this May. Around 100 of its developers are working with us to this day on our new projects, including The Witcher 4. Some are actually veterans from The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 1, including my esteemed co-CEO," and he tags Adam Badowski, "who has been with the series since its inception back in 2002. Which, hey, great. The co-CEO of this company has been there the whole time. I kind of expect them to be. I mean, that kind of makes sense, and it's not what people are arguing. They're saying the developers are the talent that we're leaving. Not everyone was buying their attempt at creating a narrative here. Bucket on X challenged them by saying, I love how they keep pushing the word that they still have staff who worked on the previous Witcher titles, like we don't know they lost the prime meat off the bone, with 2 laughing emojis. They also don't want to openly tell you about those Sweet Baby Inc. employees working for them now. And Nowakowski couldn't help himself. He had to respond to it saying, we are not working and never worked with Sweet Baby. Never even heard of them till recently, to be honest. Also, have not lost prime meat, as you put it. Which, again, this goes back to a potato. This is someone who's trying to completely curb the conversation into a narrative that fits their ideology and saying, no, it's not what you think. It's, if you look at it from this perspective, we're not technically working with them. We've just hired people that used to work with them, so it's totally different. This back and forth exchange highlights the growing skepticism in the community, and for very good reason at this point. CD Projekt Red's CEO's claims of continuity raises some serious questions about the studio's internal dynamics and especially transparency when it comes to Sweet Baby Inc. Yellow Flash replied with what many people were thinking, stating, why does your lore designer hate and want to punch gamers? You don't work with Sweet Baby, but you sure do hire some questionable people. And this is something that I've talked about previously on the channel. The very questionable employees that have been hired time and time again at CD Projekt Red without them taking any kind of accountability for their actions and just doubling down on who they bring in while the actual talent is leaving. There's been some extreme inconsistencies with Nowakowski's claims over the past few months. CD Projekt Red's recent hiring of Mary Kenny, the former outspoken Sweet Baby Inc. employee and extremely vocal advocate for LGBTQ+ agendas and representations in games, has got to make you wonder about the studio's ties behind the scenes to the controversial consultancy agency of Sweet Baby Inc. This is someone that went on a 12-part thread tangent on Twitter talking to everyone, talking down to you about how you don't understand what this consultancy group does, but she does because she worked with them. Kenny's move to the CDPR has been interpreted by some folks as indicative of a shift towards ideological hiring priorities, and how these kinds of decisions directly alienate the studio's original fan base. And adding to that skepticism, we have to mention what Flash was talking about, the elephant in the room, because sure, while not Sweet Baby Inc. specifically, hiring Cian Mar is extremely questionable. He is serving as the franchise lore designer at CDPR and previously was a journalist for The Gamer and other media outlets. He appears to lack any real noticeable game development skills or actual relevant experience, and instead, his track record is marred by a well-documented history of extreme hostility towards gamers on X, including inflammatory remarks like expressing a desire to punch gamers because he hates them so much. And you gotta wonder, do you want someone working at your company that hates the people they're making a game for in the first place? It's just kind of odd. Then you get to talking about moving teams and how CD Projekt Red's marketing push tries their best to emphasize continuity of the development team while in reality downplaying significant staff departures over the past few years. And this is something I've talked about previously multiple times on the channel. Many of these former employees left because CDPR was becoming way too woke and have started their own companies, one of them being called Rebel Wolves, while others have moved on to another studio they formed called Blank Studios. And you put that all together and realize it's not the first time Nowakowski's had a dismissive pattern and trying to offload problems with the rest of the gaming community. And you put this all together and realize that it's actually doublespeak coming from the CEO of CD Projekt Red, where this is not the first time he's said something where it's like, wait a second, but you know that's not the truth. And you actually are offloading it on other people, making them take the hit. The same thing you did to Endymion previously, by labeling them as nonsense. Endymion said on X, I talked to a Ubisoft insider about the current state of the industry as well as another source which tells me places like CD Projekt Red and even Funcom, which is making Dune Awakening, are in dire trouble. To which the CEO of CD Projekt Red, Michal Nowakowski, replied in a quote tweet stating, Seems we live in times where anyone can record complete nonsense and make a story out of it. CDPR talent leaving, we have the lowest rotation of people in recent years. Notice, by the way, the ambiguous language here that doesn't really mean anything. And you can say, oh, in recent years, based off of what? Doesn't matter. Just take my word for it because it sounds good. DEI-driven recruitment, we hire based on merit and talent alone. Well, if that's the case, why do you yourself have on your own website DEI recruitment practices and how you push DEI to hire people? You cannot do both things. It doesn't make sense. On their own website, it's him quoted saying, "Our mission is to create revolutionary games for players around the world, and this is why we need to empower the potential of our teams. A diversity of perspectives unlocks creativity and increases innovation." Well, that sure as hell doesn't sound like you hire based off of merit. It sounds like you think right here that hiring based off diversity is the best way to go. Again, you can't do both. And even Cesar on Twitter said, "Stop lying, please. Everyone sees through it," and includes screenshots from their actual website pushing diversity and inclusion. But anyways, back to his comment to Endymion that I already covered in a previous video as well. But it's really important to focus on this because people can forget how the double talk from these CEOs go, and it's a really good thing to remind everyone about who we're dealing with here. Just as we make games driven by artistic vision alone. Why did we choose Unreal Engine? Because it enables us to work on our games more efficiently, and we remain cutting edge tech-wise. The Witcher 3's director left? Well, yeah, more than 2 years ago. Now can we stop looking for conspiracy theories and go back to making cool stuff? I would love to go back to making cool stuff, but the reality is you want to push diversity, equity, inclusion because you know at the end of the day, you're not actually working for the gamers. You're working for the investors that want to push ESG scores up, the investors that want to push and prioritize DEI. That's the reality. You're trying to play both sides of this fence and you're failing at it miserably. The ongoing backlash within the gaming community reflects the growing discontent among CDPR's core original audience. Once celebrated for its player-first philosophy and groundbreaking storytelling, the studio now faces accusations of prioritizing corporate initiatives and DEI agendas and ideological goals at the expense of quality. Nowakowski's continued firm denials, coupled with the evidence saying the complete opposite, has done nothing to restore any confidence in the gamers themselves. If CDPR's leadership continues to ignore these concerns, the studio risks further alienating everyone in the community that propelled it to success in the first place. For many people, Nowakowski's words have become the emblematic issue in a broader disconnect between the company's promises and their actual actions. It feels like CD Projekt Red is in the midst of their own identity crisis and they don't know which way to go. So at the end of the day, we're just left as gamers playing these games saying, you know what? I'll probably partake in the people that left your studio's games because they probably have my best interests in mind at the end of the day. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Smash it,